All right, let's kick things off, Sean. Looks like some people are still coming in, but we've got some housekeeping items before we jump into the presentation. Here's a glimpse at today's agenda. Today we're going to be talking about Content Hub, which is HubSpot's latest hub, and really diving into some of the features and functionality. Before we do, I don't know if any of you all are planning on being at Inbound, but Sean and I are going to be there. We love doing these virtual events. It's great to be able to do these sessions for folks from Tucson and Ottawa and Miami. But I miss the in-person. I miss being face-to-face with you all. So if you're going to be there, I would love to connect just to say hi and put a face to the name. So feel free to put in the chat if you're going to be Inbound, or connect with me on LinkedIn if you'd like to meet up there. Our next event is coming up on Wednesday, September 25th. We have a really great speaker in Nick Zekitz, who's the CEO and founder of Air Traffic Control, which is a really cool MarTech piece of software for running ABM campaigns. And he's going to be doing a whole session on ABM and how to use HubSpot to manage those ABM campaigns. So if you're thinking about doing inbound, if you are, and you want to know how to, maybe optimize some of the things that you're doing, this is going to be a great session. Nick's a really great guy, and he'll actually be hosting a meetup at Inbound. So if you're going to be attending, check out that party. It's free, of course. So let's jump in here. Before we do, I want to start with a disclaimer, and that's that the purpose of today's presentation is to walk through the features of Content Hub, and in that we're going to show you a lot of the generative AI tools that exist in the platform, and just in the interest of expedience, we're going to be leaning on Gen AI to create some content. Now, how we're showing you how to use these tools maybe isn't how we would recommend. This isn't a session on the best practices of when to and not to use AI. So just know that a lot of what we show is for demonstration. Not really how we would run a content marketing strategy per se. So AI is really, really good for content brainstorming and copywriting assistance. It's amazing for fighting blank page syndrome. What it's not good for most often is for final drafts. Like, don't just hit create content, create blog article, and then publish without some human intervention. It's especially not great for instances where you're creating content on sensitive topics or anything that is legal, or if you're in an industry that's highly regulated. So I'll try to point out those instances as we go along. So just keep that in mind as we go through here. So in order to demonstrate all of the tools that Content Hub has, we are going to create an entire online presence for a company starting completely from scratch. So we are going to use, I'm just going to pick on Joel Mullen. He's my best friend in the whole world. And he runs a landscaping company called Mullen Brothers Landscaping. They're based in Westboro, Massachusetts, and they provide eco-friendly landscaping services. So we are going to use them as our case study. And that's going to be the example that we are building a web presence for in the time that we have together. So I am going to turn it over to Sean. He's going to be leading this discussion. We're going to be doing it together. So he's going to be the one that is running controls and showing us how to use some of these tools. So Sean, the very first thing a company needs when building an online presence, of course, is a website. And a website takes a long time to launch ordinarily, but Content Hub makes it really easy. Can you show us exactly how easy it is to build a website to kick off that online presence?
Absolutely. Let me just get something, pull up my screen here.
So while he does that, a lot of the tools that we are going to show you today, the features are available in the Content Hub Pro professional version. So if you are currently playing with some of the free, or you're on starter, just know that this is a glimpse into what you can expect. And if you are already on pro, that's really great. You should have access to most, if not all, of these features.
Thanks, Tony. So on your screen, you'll see HubSpot's AI website generator. And I'm going to show you how we can walk through a few simple prompts to get a website together for Joel and his team at Mullen Brothers Landscaping. So first thing it's going to do is ask you for your company name. So we'll go ahead and put in Joel's Mullen Brothers Landscaping. Next thing is our industry. Joel's in the landscaping industry. That's going to be listed under consumer services. So we'll go ahead and click that. For language, we're based here in the Central Mass region, so we're going to keep the language as English. The last thing it asks for is for Joel to describe his business as he would to a friend. So we've asked Joel to do that, and I've got that pre-built out here. But it's got, you know, that he's based in Westborough, Massachusetts, that they are specialized in sustainable, eco-friendly landscaping, and they serve both homeowners and property managers with lawn care, garden design, and snow removal. So we'll go ahead and put that in. The next thing it does is it'll ask you for your goals of your website. And we've talked to Joel, and he said he wants to offer his landscaping services. He wants to attract new leads. He wants to showcase his portfolio of work. He's done a lot of great work here in the Central Mass area, so he wants to showcase that. He doesn't have any products to sell at the moment, so we're going to skip that one. We're going to start a blog for him today, so we'll go ahead and click publish a blog, and he wants to grow his online presence. Next, you'll see that HubSpot gives you some different style options. As you click, you'll see on the right of your screen, it'll show you a preview of what it'll do. So it'll change some of the fonts, it'll change the colors, give it a bit of a different layout and design. So we've talked to Joel. He really likes this fresh style here. So we'll go ahead and click Finish. And now HubSpot's going to take all of those inputs and build us a website. So let's see what it comes up with. Here we go. Tony, what do you think?
Yeah, this is looking really good. It's going to add placeholders in certain instances. Some of the imagery might not be right. And of course, with generative AI, you're going to want to proof all the text and where possible, put it in your own words. So Sean, why don't you show us how easy it is to edit some of these sections, starting with the logos up at the top.
Yeah, of course. So Mullen Brothers works with a number of commercial property owners here in Central Mass, and Joel's given us a couple of their accounts that have pre-proved that it's okay to use their logos on here. So we'll go ahead and bring this down to 3. And as you can see, as I'm editing here on the left side, on the right side, you'll see the change happening live. Then we'll go in and replace all these logo placeholders with real logos. Click Replace. We've got Unibank, which is a local bank here in Central Massachusetts. We've got Webster First Credit Union, another local bank, and Verizon's local office here. So very easy to just update the images, but what you'll see, notice here is these white backgrounds don't really go with the kind of nice green color on this background of this segment. So HubSpot users will know it's very easy to edit all of these modules. Just click into it, and then we'll reset the background so it matches up with these logos. And they just like really fall into the background there and look nice. So that would be the first thing I'd do is go through, you know, here we've got a good description of lawn care, but when Joel gets with croissants, it's about eating, not selling. So we'll go ahead and edit that. We'll replace this with a lawn care image. We've got this nice one with the lawn lines. I really wish my lawn looked like that. Garden design. We've got some nice gardens that Joel and his team have put in. And then, of course, the looming winter is on us soon here. So we'll go ahead and put our plowing snow removal services there as well. So you can see it's very easy to update the images and logos. You can also change some of the structure. So for example, this doesn't fit with Joel's pricing structure. He doesn't really have monthly plans like that. So you can edit, copy, or just remove sections that you don't need. So that would be my first move on this, is to go through and update all of the imagery.
So you can see with the, the entering of a few prompts and a little bit of customization, in just a matter of a few minutes, we have the beginnings of a pretty good landscaping website. The hardest part, I think, about building an online presence is driving traffic to your site. So we want to be creating content, but before we do, we want to make sure that the content that we create is consistent in its brand voice. And I think that's hard when you're creating lots of content over time, especially when you have multiple content creators. So Sean, can you show us how Content Hub makes it really easy to have a consistent brand voice?
Yeah, of course. And as a content creator, I can speak to this. I know how challenging it can be to create a consistent tone and personality at scale for your brand. But HubSpot has just released this new tool within Content Hub that's going to help us. So let's go ahead and show that. So we'll get out of here. HubSpot users that are looking for this tool, it's called Brand Voice. And to set it up, on the top navigation, you'll click on your settings icon. You'll go down here on the left side to account defaults and your branding tab and your My Brand Kit. And users know this is an area where you can set your brand's logos, favicons, your brand colors, themes, and the newest one on the block here is Brand Voice. So let's go ahead and set this up. So very similar prompt to the AI website generator, where we're going to put information in and it's going to help HubSpot utilize AI to create something for us. So for a writing sample, HubSpot would like you to put in something with 500 words minimum. So something that you've written before for your brand that really captures it is what you'd want to use as an example. And there's a whole host of different options you can do. Articles, blog posts, case studies, newsletters, and more. So for this example, Joel recently wrote a nice article about sustainable landscaping for a local newspaper. And it goes over what it is, the benefits, the key elements of sustainable landscaping, and it's written by Joel in his voice. So we'll put that in there. We'll paste that in as our sample. As I mentioned, this was an article. So go ahead and click the type of sample. And then you define your audience. So who is this writing for? And as we talked about at the beginning of the session, for Joel and the Mullen Brothers landscaping team, it's homeowners and property managers in the Westboro area. So now we've got our inputs, and we'll go ahead and click next. And now HubSpot's AI is going to take that sample and look at it for personality and tone and assign what it thinks are the attributes for those. So for personality, it shows innovative, trustworthy, supportive, and helpful. For tone, it's got informative, positive, and respectful. And these you can add up to 4. So let's say for tone, they missed inspirational. We go ahead and add that. Then we click done. And now we've got our brand voice set up. You'll notice 2 subtabs here, context and channel specific settings. So you can assign a certain brand voice for, let's say, your social channel. And you could do so here. You can toggle on and off between the different channels that you want to use your brand voice on. And the other really cool part about this is the context button. So here it allows you to put in your company mission to really dial in that brand voice even more. So we've got Joel's mission here. We're going to go ahead and paste that in and we'll save it. And now we've got our brand voice set up. So this will help us in all of our copy editing on that website that we just created.
So we've got our brand voice, and now we want to start driving some organic search traffic to the website that we built. So Sean, can you show us how to create a blog for our website?
Yeah, of course. And for Joel, as a small business owner, Joel wears a lot of hats. It's not just marketing that he's doing. It's actually just a piece of the puzzle. He's also out there mowing lawns and helping out with all of the landscaping tasks as well. So he's always looking for ways to streamline his process, and he's been utilizing AI. And he was pleased to find out that HubSpot has its own AI tool, much like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot or any of the generative AI tools you may be using, but it's form fit for HubSpot. It's called ChatSpot. So let's go ahead and launch that. So HubSpot users, top right of your screen under your profile, you can launch your ChatSpot app. So we'll go ahead and do that. And I've pre-written a prompt here for Joel that basically asks ChatSpot to take on the role of a content marketer for a landscaping company in the Westboro area and provide us with a list of 10 to 15 blog topics that would attract homeowners and property managers to my website. So let's go ahead, put that in. And now ChatSpot's going to work to create those blog topics for us. And of course, as Tony mentioned at the start of this with AI, it's always a good idea, a good practice to provide human intervention. As you can see, this first one here is listed for 2023. If I were writing this article, I would definitely edit that up to 2024. And depending on the time of the year, I would probably even bump that up to 2025. But this next one here, eco-friendly landscaping solutions for Massachusetts homeowners, that's perfect. So let's go ahead and grab this. And then we're going to go back into our HubSpot portal, and we're going to start our blog. So under the content, we're going to go into the blog tool, and we're going to generate with AI. So you'll recognize these prompt screens from the earlier demos. We'll go ahead and put our topic in here. It's asking for keywords. In this instance, I'm going to go with here, eco-friendly landscaping. So we'll go ahead and copy that into the keywords. And then the country of target audience for Joel and his team, it's United States. So we'll go ahead and hit next. HubSpot's going to take that information and give us some potential blog titles. So let's see what it comes with. So you'll notice here on the right side that it's pulling in some different numbers and symbols. This is because HubSpot's tied to SEMrush, which is a great SEO tool. And MSV is your monthly search volume. So it's giving you some numbers on how many people are searching for that keyword term. Difficulty to rank. So based on a number of factors, it'll tell you how challenging it is to rank for that keyword term, and keyword intent. So SEMrush, I believe, has 4 examples there: navigational, informational, commercial, and transactional. So it's the intent of what people are searching that keyword for. So we're in here. You can, if you don't like any of these, obviously you can generate new titles. If there's something missing from the title that's suggested, you can edit these. So there's a lot you can do from this page, but we're going to go ahead and go with our first one here. And now it's going to take that information and the rest of our inputs and give us the skeleton of a blog post. So as you see here, it's got our title, it's got our meta description, it's developing a AI image for our blog post based on this description that it came up with. And then you'll see here's the skeleton of our actual post here. It's got different section headers that it thinks would make for a good article here to rank. So you can edit these, you can move them around. If you want to change the order of these, you can add talking points. For example, for native plants, Joel mentioned he wants shaded gardens versus sunny gardens. Can add that in. And then the other thing I'm going to do here is just adjust this prompt. This looks pretty good. Another thing I noticed here is discover. That sounds pretty AI heavy to me. We're just going to go with learn. And then let's generate our blog post.
So while that's generating, if anybody has any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat and we'll address them as they come up. So don't be shy to use that chat feature.
And now here is Mullen Brothers Landscaping's first blog post. You got your AI generated image. We've got all the sections that we put in there. And as Tony mentioned, basically Joel will go in here and just edit this and give it a little human intervention and change it to his voice.
Now, so we had mentioned before that keeping it consistent to your brand voice is really important. And Sean, why don't you show us how that feature that we set up previously can be used on a blog post?
Yeah, of course. So then when Joel goes in here and he starts editing his new blog post, he can go in here and he's reading, let's say this first section, and he says, you know what, this really doesn't sound like Mullen Brothers Landscaping, doesn't sound like the right personality and tone. So as you highlight the text, you'll see this new icon come up here. And if you click on that, you've got apply brand voice. So it's as simple as that. You click this and the AI is going to do its work to apply those settings and context and everything else that we set up at the beginning of the session and rewrite these two paragraphs. So this looks good. We'll go ahead and insert it. And then this is much closer to the Mullen Brothers tone, easier for Joel to edit. And I would do the same thing on our website that we created earlier. That would be the text edits. So it's
We had
really powerful.
a couple questions in the chat. Can you have multiple brand kits? You can, but only if you're using the business units add-on, and that's only available at the enterprise level. So a little bit of a limitation there. Peter asks, Sean, can you use this on a WordPress website? Do you have any answer to that one?
The ChatSpot features you can, and we're going to actually show another tool that's in Content Hub that is a content embed, and that'll allow you to create and develop things inside of HubSpot, but then embed them on your WordPress site. So depending on the tools, for example, the what we just showed, the brand voice would not be, you'd have to create in HubSpot to use that. But for embedding different modules and forms and things like that, you will be with embed, content embed.
Right, so we'll show you that in a moment, Peter. Keith asks, on the brand voice section, you posted the company mission. Could you clarify what the mission was? So that is just the Mullen Brothers' own mission statement. So if your business has a mission statement or a vision statement, usually it's just a few sentences that describe the overarching purpose of your business. It uses that to train the AI model to understand like what the maybe like moral direction of the business is to help with understanding the tone.
That's exactly right.
So at this point now, we're about 25 minutes into this session, and we've got a website. We've got about 2 to 3 months worth of blog ideas. We've published our first blog article. We've made sure that it is consistent with our brand voice. We want to create some more content. Podcasts right now are all the rage. I love them. I'm listening to podcasts when I am in the gym, when I'm in my car. Sean, can you show us how easy it is to create a podcast in Content Hub?
Yeah, of course. So we're just going to go ahead and open this blog post in a new tab because we're going to use it later to help us with our creating a podcast. So let's get out of here, this page here, and we'll go into under content, the new podcast tool. So first thing we need to do is create our show. So we're going to start from scratch. And we've talked to Joel about this a little bit. Joel has a great personality, great sense of humor, and he thought that we could call our show Lawn and Order. And we've talked to Joel about what he wants to cover on the show, and we've come up with a description for the show here. Just read this real quick. Lawn and Order is your go-to podcast for all things landscaping. Whether you're a seasoned gardener or a first-time homeowner, we've got the tips, tricks, and expert advice you need to take control of your outdoor space. Join me, Joel Mullen, as we dive into everything from lawn care and garden design to sustainable practices and seasonal maintenance. With a mix of humor, practical knowledge, and a passion for all things green, we'll help you turn your yard into the envy of the neighborhood without breaking a sweat. Tune in every week for new episodes packed with actionable insights, funny stories, and all the inspiration you need to create the yard of your dreams. I'm ready to listen. Then we have to set up a podcast host. So we've already set up Joel's profile. And to do so, you just need a quick bio, email, and picture. So we'll go ahead and put Joel in there. We need his email. So it's Joel at Mullen bros.com. Ooh, and now we need a show logo. And at this point, in the old days, we'd be like, oh, we need to call in a designer, get a logo for this show. But now HubSpot empowers you with AI, and let's see what they can do. So we'll go ahead and click generate. I've got a prompt here for us. Create a logo for a podcast about landscaping called Lawn in Order. We're going to let HubSpot decide the style, and let's see what it comes up with. Oh, I like this first one, even though it's kind of a weird scissor shovel. But we'll grab this, insert it, and now we have our artwork for our show. Choose your category. So there's a bunch of categories in here. For Joel, there's a home and garden section. Go ahead and click. And then here's where you can toggle on and off explicit content warning. We have an entire team that's bleeping out Joel's swears, so we can go ahead and not worry about that, and we'll create our show. And just like that, Law and Order is out there, but we still need our first episode. So here in the podcast management tool, you can see that you can create episodes from existing audio. So if you went ahead and did an interview and produced a podcast in the traditional sense, you could upload that audio here and then manage it within HubSpot. But the other really interesting thing about the new tool is that you can actually generate audio from text. And I think this is a really cool way to utilize, to create different types of content from the content that you've already created. And that's what we're going to do today with our blog post. So we'll go ahead and click that. Then we need our show. So let's go back to our old friend ChatSpot and our blog. We'll open a new chat with ChatSpot, and let's go with this prompt here. Please turn this blog post into a transcript for a podcast called Lawn in Order. Then I'm going to hard return, and let's take our blog post that we just created, copy it, and let's put it in here and see what ChatSpot can do with it.
So that process is what it's effectively doing here is taking that blog article and it's creating a podcast transcript that sounds more conversational. And here it is now.
And this looks pretty good to me. So just reading the top here. Welcome back to Lawn in Order, the podcast where we dive deep. Hold on, it's still generating here. Welcome back to Lawn in Order, the podcast where we dive deep into the art of sustainable gardening and eco-friendly landscaping. I'm your host, and today we're exploring some incredible landscaping solutions for all you Massachusetts homeowners out there looking to green your thumbs and your yards. So this looks pretty good. Again, we would always edit this, but for the sake of this, we're going to copy it as is and put it in. Now we can select a voice, and HubSpot has a couple different voices that you can choose from. I really like Echo. And HubSpot users, if you haven't played around with any of HubSpot's AI voice generators, you need to, because they sound really organic and human. They don't sound as robotic as some of the AI voice generators we've heard in the past. So this actually does make for a pretty decent listen. So we'll go ahead and generate our audio. And now we've got our episode. It's about 3 minutes long. And now here's where we can put in our episode details. So this is eco-friendly landscaping tips. We need a description. So just for the sake of this exercise, Joel shares his best tips for your lawn and garden. Artwork, again, we're going to let AI do the work here for our show. A beautiful lawn. And it'll just take a second. Wow, that looks nice. We'll go with that. Insert it for our episode. Again, we've got Joel locked up there. It's no worries on the explicit content. We're not going to provide a transcript for this episode, and then let's publish it. So now we've launched our podcast, Tony.
Excellent. Let's get back to the question that we had earlier. I think it was Peter that said, how can you use some of these features and functionality on a WordPress site? And they have this really great tool called Content Embed that allows you to embed content on a HubSpot website or outside of a HubSpot website, wherever you may host it, WordPress or otherwise. Sean, can you show us how to embed this podcast into the blog article that we wrote on the same topic?
Yeah, of course. So let's go into content again, bring up the blog, and then we're going to go into the blog that we just wrote. HubSpot users will be familiar that to add modules, it's on the left-hand side here. So we'll go ahead and click that, and let's look for our podcast modules. And you'll notice that there's two. There's episode, which will display and embed the specific episode that we just created, and then there's show, which will display lawn and order. So for this one, let's put the episode, at the bottom here. So you can see it's put the module here, and then on the left side you select the content that's tied to it. So if we drop down here, we see our new podcast episode that we just created. And then when we preview this, see what it looks like in action. We got our beautiful lawn, we got our eco-friendly landscaping tips, and people can play it. It's embedded right here onto the blog itself.
So we've got a few questions in the chat. Peter asks, can you upload your own voice using 11 Labs, meaning clone the client's voice so it generated using his voice sample? I actually don't know the answer to that question. Do you know, Sean?
Yeah, I think you could, because that would give you a regular audio file that you could. So just instead of taking the path we did of starting with text, you would choose the first example there, which is from existing audio.
Oh, I see.
So yeah, I think that would work.
Excellent. Karen asks, the AI images don't quite look real. Is there a way to either sharpen the images or insert actual photos? Yes to both, Karen. You can I think it says regenerate the image. So you can just keep trying until you get something that looks closer. You could try to work on your prompt to tighten it up a little bit to instruct the AI. But if after a few tries you don't like what you see, then you can always add your own images that you upload from a stock photography website, or if you have any custom photos that you've taken by way of a photo shoot or something like that.
Yeah, this is the tool Tony's talking about. So we just selected the image, click replace image, and this is where you could generate something new here or replace it.
Let's see. Bob asks, can we embed a video that is hosted on Wistia? Absolutely. Yes, you can. Kirill, apologies if I mispronounced your name. Is there any limits for generating pictures / media? Sean, I don't believe there is.
So can you repeat that?
For generating AI images, is there a limit to how many you can generate?
Oh, no, I don't believe there is.
Yeah, I don't think so. Peter says, I use ChatGPT to generate mid-journey prompts, and the images come out really well for Lancers. Awesome. Yeah, I
That's a
think it's just
great,
a matter of really training that AI over time and just getting really good at those prompts.
that's a great,
Thanks.
great point to use prompt generators or to use AI to help you create prompts. That actually works really well.
So for the folks that dropped off, it looks like we lost 2 or 3 people. I feel bad for them because we're getting to my favorite feature of Content Hub, and this is really the value behind this. We saved the best for last. So at this stage on our journey, just to recap how far we've come, we've got our website, we've got 2 to 3 months of blog content, we've published our first blog, we've published a podcast episode. The hardest part, I think, of driving consistent traffic to your website is not even in the creating the content, but then promoting the content. And Content Hub makes that so incredibly easy by way of a tool called Content Remix, which allows you to repurpose the piece of content that you've created into a variety of other pieces of content. So Sean, why don't you demonstrate what the heck I'm talking about here?
Of course. So under content, you'll go to remix, and this is where we can do what Tony was just talking about. Click on the start remix, and as Tony mentioned, we're going to take one piece of content and then turn that into a supporting campaign for it. So go ahead and click add content. You can select your content type. You can start from various different things here. We're going to start with the blog post that we just created. So we'll go ahead and add that. Add content, and you see it'll pull it in here. And then this is where we start remixing. This is where the fun starts. Go ahead and hit the plus here. And on your left side of the screen, it comes up with 6 different content types that you can create from the content within your first starting piece. So for this example, I thought we could do an ad to advertise that we've got the new blog out there in our services. I thought we could do an email to let our subscriber base know that we just launched a new blog and a new podcast. And then let's back it up with some social messages, and let's do 3 of them on our Facebook. So we'll go ahead and click next. And for the purposes of this is a HubSpot demo account, so I've got a our Growth Spurt ad account there, but just to show you how this would work, we're going to go ahead and give the objective to HubSpot here. So you just back this up with a little bit of information of what you're trying to do with the ad. So for us, it's promote Mullen Brothers Landscaping eco-friendly services. You can ask HubSpot to include an image generated from AI. So we'll go ahead and do that. For our email, we need to select a template. So we're going to use promotional, and it'll apply the text to the template that you've selected. And then for our social messages, we're going to have the same objective for all 3. So let me go ahead and put that in. The objective is to highlight the takeaways and tips in the blog to attract readers on Facebook. Let's get an image because it helps with conversion, and we're going to do this to all 3 messages. Very easy. Put these in, and then we hit generate. And now you see HubSpot's going to work creating all of that content, the things that used to take us as marketers hours to create. Now it's doing it in minutes.
Now, like we said at the beginning, you're going to want to proof these things. We talked about the images maybe not looking sharp or looking a little funky. So just being mindful that this is really to fight that blank page syndrome. And it's repurposing that blog article into a few different things, 3 social posts, for example. So you might need to tighten those up a little bit just to make the language fit. And again, this is a great use of that brand voice feature that we showed earlier.
And as it's generating this last one, the other great thing about these remixes is you can save these. So we'll call this Joel's weekly campaign. And you can see how all of this stacks on itself and works together. We've asked ChatSpot to create 10 to 15 blog titles that we can then do once a week. We can constantly turn those into podcast episodes. And then we have our method of how we're going to promote it with an ad, an email, and 3 social posts. So when you save the campaign, then when you save the remix, then you just change what your input is, what you start with. So you could see how this could build into a nice, easy process for a small business owner like Joel, who's wearing a lot of hats and still wants to satisfy his marketing needs.
So looking at the time, in the last 43 minutes, we started from having no social presence, no online presence whatsoever, website. We've got a blog, we've got a podcast. Now we're promoting that blog across email, 3 social posts, an ad. This, I think, really demonstrates the power of Content Hub. And this content remix really is a game changer for being able to create and promote content at scale in ways that we haven't really had access before. So it really levels the playing field for businesses of all sizes. So that's our demonstration for today. We hope that you found it helpful. This isn't meant to be a sales pitch or anything like that. So, but I imagine some of you who don't have Content Hub probably are wondering what the price is. And there are 3 tiers available: starter, professional, and enterprise. Again, most of the features that we showed today are in Content Hub Professional. But I will say that if you're currently using Marketing Hub Pro, then you can add Content Hub Pro for, I think, $100 more in a bundle that they call Marketing Plus. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop in the chat. I see Peter says, can you show the embedded feature for WordPress? Is this using an iframe? How does it affect SEO? We don't have anything prepared, but we can send some documentation about that in the follow-up email that will go out in a few hours. Just want to make sure that we get all the information right in there. Any other questions that folks might have? Give you all a minute. Thank you for tuning in all the way from Miami, Gabriella. Susanna, thank you so much. Sean, if you want to advance the screen, just a friendly reminder, and we'll send a link in the follow-up, that our next webinar is going to be on Wednesday, September 25th with my pal Nick Zekits from Air Traffic Control on ABM. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Really appreciate it. I hope you got a lot out of it, and we'll be talking soon. Louis, great to see you. Susanna, thank you so much.